Great to have you
This is
there.
Andrew Williams Jr. And today we're with another conversation with Andrew Williams Jr. and Concordian Conversations. We're live streaming to Facebook and we're live streaming from Concord, Massachusetts, where today the founder of the Center for American Studies at Concord, Stuart B. Weeks, will be telling us a little bit about George Washington, Dugan of all people, and the fact that, well, I'll let Stuart do that. Stuart Sinclair Weeks, please say hello to your audience.
Thank you, friends. We're about to go across the street to Monument Square, which is in the center of Concord. Concord, as I've said before, being the center for many, not all, but for many of our state, nation, and our nation, for better and for worse. The slope is a slippery one, is the center of our globe. So in Monument Square are the three monuments devoted to men and to war. And in the delicate shadows of Monument Square, which we addressed last night, are three other monuments devoted to the woman, to a matriarchal people, and to peace. So if you give us a moment, we're going to go across the street and say something about one of these monuments in particular. Dear friends, so my colleagues are joining me. So here we see a plaque, and the plaque reads, "They died for their country in the War of the Rebellion." These are Concord citizens who fought in the War of Rebellion or the Civil War. And I want to read you why we're here. As follows. George Washington Dugan himself. "For God has not given us the spirit of fear, but of power and of love and of a sound mind." The Soldiers' Monument is an enduring reminder of Concord Civil War history. A bronze tablet lists the names of beloved husbands, fathers, brothers, and sons. Sons, honored for their ultimate sacrifice. Additionally, this monument is a teaching tool that will be even more important to our cultural heritage once the town adds the name of Private George Washington Dugan. George Washington Dugan was born in Concord around 1817 and lived here for most of his life. He was the son of a self-emancipated man, Thomas Dugan. He's the only Black man from Concord to enlist in the Civil War. George Duggan, son of Thomas and Jenny Duggan, with farmland near Old Marlborough Road, was assigned to Company A of the 54th, serving under Colonel Robert Gould Shaw. He mustered into Company A of the 54th Massachusetts Volunteer Regiment, made famous by the movie Glory. He gave his life in the assault of Fort Wagner on July 18, 1863. Private Duggan's name was not placed on the monument in 1866 when it was initially erected, nor in 1882 when the town replaced the bronze tablet to add names unintentionally left off the memorial, nor in 1915 when the town replaced the bronze tablet to add names unintentionally left off the memorial. George Washington Duggan was listed in the 1908 report, Soldiers and Sailors of Concord, Massachusetts, as, quote, the only native colored man who went to the Civil War from Concord. In 1932, the Commonwealth Adjunct General's Office changed his status to, quote, supposed killed. No action was taken for 82 years until 2014, when it was brought to the Concord Select Board. Nearly 10 years have passed, and we are promised a new plaque will be installed by Memorial Day 2024, with Private Duggan's name finally included, over 160 years after his death. Herewith a brief chronology. If the foregoing points are clear, what, fellow Concordians, what story? Yes, number one, we duly appreciate to get the back bearing Private Duggan's name in two. We can't be certain that disturbing as another's or others' actions may be, often are. We cannot be certain that those actions are not at the same time that person's best efforts not to act even worse. 3, if we realize that we can't judge others in whose shoes we do not walk, and if we did, it would be us walking in their shoes. 4, if those who appear or act bad, e.g. racist, may be really mad because they are in fact sad, because they are in truth scared. 5, if when we are scared or scared, we are not in our right or rightful minds, are beside ourselves, our true selves. Who hasn't said, what got into me, gripped me, got a hold of me, overshadowed me? What possessed me? How do I get a hold of myself, my true self? 6, whenever we do something inhuman, it is literally inhuman. That is something / some spirit else beside our humanity may, as noted, be working through us. Note such a consideration is not offered as an excuse for one's actions, rather as a possible explanation. Continuing, what, fellow Concordians, is the moral of the story, this unfortunate tale, if the fear noted may be kindled in good part by depictions of the mainstream corporate media, which as such corporations are in the business to, in their own words, make a killing as opposed to a living. 8, The way such killings are made is, for starters, by focusing on the negative, the divisions, in order to divide and conquer. You name it, white against black, female against male, Christian against Jew. There appears to be no shortage of grist for such sorry mills, divisions, conflicts. Nine, prejudice is just that, a prejudging on the basis of the media's adversarial focus. That is, there are more than enough stories of non-prejudicial, heartfelt kindred relations between the races. Stories that seldom are granted, seldom see the light of day. But one of many examples is a film on race amnesty. 10, finally, unable to face and embrace our own shadow, we project it on others. Most readily can one say, on those whose skin is a darker, seemingly more shadowy hue. Gathering up these strands of the thread considerations, might the final question be, what does it take to do justice, to make good, to redeem past deeds? Not necessarily our own, but those of others who've gone before us, that are brought to our attention in that is a clear, forthright, and integer manner. In this case, I'm speaking of George Washington Duggan. I'm speaking of a Black brother, a fellow citizen, Concordian, who offered up his own last full measure of devotion on our behalf. Might it take something, some spirit mightier than fear, doubt, political correctness, more enduring than pride, guilt, and shame, you name it. As mortals mere, not only will we err, but we can always make good, as in live and learn, those who are truly alive. An ever fuller life, ever more perfect union we can embrace, born of the recognition that we shall know the truth, and the truth shall make us free. One nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So we will be bringing this question to the Concord leadership, our board of select persons. Right now, we're going to have to wait another year, but we're going to suggest instead that something is put up. If not yesterday or today, then tomorrow or the next day, that honors this brother, John Washington Duggan, who gave his own last full measure of devotion for our lives. With that, I give this back to Andrew Williams, Jr.
Well, thank you for joining us here with Andrew Williams Jr., Concordian Conversations, at the center of the center of the center, where just a few feet away, we have memorials here to our wars, but also there, we have memorials to peace and to women. So we'll be following up this on our later broadcast. Thank you so much for joining us, and please come back to join us again.
I mentioned 4 o'clock.
This is 2:18 now, Eastern Time. At 4 p.m., you can join us here again, but you need to register and make sure you're there. Andrew at andrewnetworks.com for the registration link. Andrew at andrewnetworks.com. Thank you so much. Have a fantastic day.